So, hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Half the Race Gone for round 2 of the TSR Multiclass Super GT Championship, or as we just shorten it to the Multi-GT. We are here from Kyoto. The Yamagiwa layout probably means something, I don't know what it is, but it's one of the original polyphony tracks that are featured on Gran Turismo Sport, and of course we are gonna be racing on it here today. We had some intense action in both classes last time out, the first race here at Fuji F, and that was that was quite interesting to follow, and personally I almost felt like I had the voice of an old man. It probably didn't sound quite as bad as it felt, but I'll do my best to keep the action level high. Of course, we are gonna start out doing the grid walk. Bringing the inspiration to doing this. Winning, or I could say winning the Super Pole shootout this time out in the GT 500s, it is CJ, the Greek Crazy John, is here in the Lexus GT 500 car. Yeah, excuse me about that. Having somewhat better luck than last time out there. In second position, also one of the NES known faces, it's Armor Core in the number 12 R1 Titan Nissan GTR. Then in third position, I do believe that with the number 99 car, that is Mikey in one of the two Honda NSXs, and then that would be Fred Dude in the second one. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Sadly, there is no Traels today. He's enjoying a busy time in his life and is not really finding the time to do silly stuff such as commentating on imaginary motorsports 2 times a week, such as I'm doing. So, but fingers crossed that he will be with us soon at some point. So yeah, and then it's actually I think this is a new livery, the number 13 car. Please tell me who that is, chat, because we are in the grid mode. I cannot see the name of the driver. In 6th position it is Pinkery, and in 7th it is AJ. Pinkery in the Lexus and AJ in the Golf livery Nissan GTR GT 500. And then moving on to the GT 300 grid, GT Welsh taking a very strong pole position in the Super Pole qualifying, right in front of VRS Stick, his compatriot there, with Joe of the Fire in the number 27 Audi R8 in third position, followed by the Swedish survivor, that is T5 Black, rounding out the second row of the grid there. It is myself, DirtenDK, in P5 with that 24DH in P6. Then it is Belgian JC, known face from the TSR M3 series, so would be that 24 actually, T5 as well, and of course series organizers GT Welsh and VRS Stick. And then having a bit of a terrible qualifying session for him, at least you could say. It's Sam Digby will be in last position on the grid for the start of the race. So certainly not what he would have been hoping for, especially not after showing that he certainly had the pace in the first race of Fuji, but was really unlucky to, well, simply just disconnect. And, well, that was his race gone for him. So super bad luck there, and we will be crossing our fingers for better luck today, of course, for Sam Digby. And thanks, Stick, of course. The Adidas livery car, the number 13 car, is of course the car of Zephyr. Just presenting a new livery there. And of course, I think as we saw here, CJ with a grid penalty that got executed there in a way, I think, if I'm not completely mistaken, because he did have set the pole position time. So it is Armored Core leading him out, as it seems. To just get you all the race info. So of course, Armored Core here, due to the penalty that was picked up after that turn 1 incident for CJ, wasn't really the clearest of communications as to how these penalties would be served. I think there was a little bit of confusion, and some of us might even have a penalty hanging on for the next race, because I'm not quite sure that my penalty, for instance, was actually given to me, or was actually carried out, so to say. Fred Dude it is in third position, Mikey in fourth, but I think I did get him right. A little bit of confusion on the grid, to be honest, there. Coming down towards the hairpin here, and the track, well, we haven't really spoken about the track yet, but this Yamagiwa layout to Kyoto, it's a fast track. Actually, it's a flowing track, and it's basically just broken up by those two chicanes. The curves on this track are absolutely deadly, and it's as if they're just they're just there on track, waiting to take you out, waiting to unsettle the car in the most dreadful of ways. And races around this track do have a tendency to be on the dramatic side, as it is now Armored Core's decision as to when to put down the gas, and here he does, and no overtaking before the line. Doesn't seem like we have any of that either, and the GT 500 fields are away into the very fast sweeping left-hander that is turn 1. It is Armored Core followed by CJ, Fred Dude, Mikey, Zephyr, Pinkery, and AJ. So status quo from the grid still. CJ with the 2 NSX is up for close company here as they come down towards the second of the fast left sweepers on this track. Of course, that flat out section in the SS, and at this moment now we have to start also going off in the GT 300 class, and it is of course GT Welsh leading him down in front of BR Stick. Welsh getting seemingly there a little sideways on that curb, but seemingly also gets a strong exit there as VRS Stick has to go to defensive this time around from Joe of the... So still nicely bunched up there. It looks like Digby is having a go at one of the Porsches there around the back of the field, and already haven't gotten the better. Oh, Digby just goes a little bit wide there. Now JC might get a run down towards the chicane. Let's see what's going on here. And he does indeed take that position, so Digby at the bottom of affairs once more in class. As we come down towards the hairpin here. Oh, and there's just a little contact there from that 24DH to myself. A little love tap, and then a tight battle between the two Porsches, and Sam Digby says thank you very much, and he's moving right through and gaining a number of positions in that situation there. Great opportunistic driving from Digby there, and Armored Core still in the lead in the 500s. CJ still in second position there. Fred and Mikey, the two NSXs, now having lost a little bit of ground to CJ, and are in turn having a close fight here. They are coming up towards the hairpin, and we might just see Mikey going for it. But you could also say that the two teammates here might just collaborate on trying to close the gap onto the 2 liters in front of them. Pinkery in 6th position still, AJ in 7th, and horrible luck for AJ, who has quite some damage to his car. More than I have the time to go through there. That is certainly not what he wanted. Especially not after also suffering the same on the first lap of the Fuji race. So Welsh, in turn, he is looking like he is flying away with it at the moment in the 300s. And he's looking really strong there. It's now VRS Stick also having pulled a little bit away there. And T5 Black having overtaken Joe of the Fire in that second BMW. Now up to 3rd position in class. So looking strong for T5 here as he really cuts across there. It goes a little bit wide. And that costs him 2 positions actually, because not only does Joe of the Fire get through, but also Sam Digby in the Aston Martin there, who certainly has the pace and is moving up through the field here on the opening laps. And it'll be interesting to see if he can catch up alongside Joe of the Fire there. The Audi R8 seems to be struggling a little bit. Digby throws up a move onto Joe of the Fire up the inside of turn 1. And as we're struggling to get to grip, we're just getting a glimpse of it there. Digby just goes right through. And Joe of the Fire now on the receiving end of things here on the opening laps of the race. And he will have quite some overtaking to do later on if he's to make amends for that armored core. Now getting joined by CJ. And CJ looking to put on the pressure. The two are teammates in the GT class, where Armored Core is competing for the virtual endurance racing team, the team that is run by CJ. So the two drivers know each other very well. And CJ certainly has been closing on the last couple of laps there. So it'll be interesting to see if he'll get close enough there as he makes a big mistake. And does very well in catching that car. Just got much too much curb underneath there. And certainly a nice save there. Mikey in 3rd position now. Fred Dude does have a problem, and he has engine damage. So get the F's out for Fred Dude as well once more. That is certainly not the race he would have wanted. And he is gonna lose bucket loads of time just getting round before he can enter the pits with the engine damage there. Looking to have been into some kind of problems early on the track, and that's always a bad thing to have going on there. GT Welsh with a nice advantage there to VRS Stick at the moment. And VRS Stick just getting overtaken, as we mentioned it, by Sam Digby. And Joe of the Fire seemed to have just tagged along, because he is now in turn going at it. So we have a 3-way scrap here for 2nd position in the very well dominated class by the Brits here in the GT300. So it's now Digby just slightly pulling away, it seems, there, with Stick now really having to go defensive from Joe of the Fire in the Audi, seemingly having picked up the pace over the opening couple of laps. But that BMW M3 seemed to be a very strong car around this track. So did the Aston and the Nissan as well. And the Audi seemed just to struggle a little bit more with the balance of the car, but with a very nice straight line speed here is Joe of the Fire throws one up the inside, and DRS Dick just keeps a cool head, and in turn keeps Joe away from overtaking him there. And that was really nice driving just to keep the speed on the outside line there. So now we have a proper scrap going on. I was just about to say that we do have a proper scrap, but that's the two Porsches of JC and Dad 24. Now getting overtaken by CJ here, coming into the sweeper here, number 2. Zephyr is in 3rd position in class here as he is battling along with Mikey in the NSX. And just about makes that stick. Mikey might have it. No, he just thinks about it and then thinks twice and just tags in behind that Nissan GTR in front. And now Zephyr into the podium spots. So seemingly having gotten a nice opening couple of laps. And now it's the turn of these two cars in turn to overtake the two battling Porsches there. And as we follow the scrap for 3rd position here in the GT500 class, you also notice that Pinkery in 5th is not far back, no more than a couple of seconds here as Mikey gets sideways on the exit of the last turn and onto the quite short start finishing straight. AJ now a little bit in front of Fred Dude. Those two drivers had their problems with damage early on. In turn, they've not also both had their pit stops. They should have enough fuel to finish the race here that I made on Fuji, which was just not tanking enough on that pit stop. Now GT Welsh getting past quite safely there by Armored Core, showing the patience needed for multi-class racing there. CJ still close, but he's also in turn gonna get held up here a little bit through the hairpin. And Digby is also getting closer to GT Welsh now, so he has gotten a little bit away from the competitors in the GT300 class. That as Welsh goes wide there through the last chicane, and that's gonna let Digby ride through to take the lead in the GT300 class after 7 laps of racing, having started last. So really strong opening 10-12 minutes there from Sam Digby, just having a feast of the GT300 field and moving right the way up through. Some really strong stuff that is. So CJ, here we are, lap 9, and we're gonna be looking at you closely in the hairpin. And such is it when you, F. Can you hear the drum roll? No, I can't do a drum roll because I don't have a drum. Anyways, here we come to the hairpin. CJ, what's he gonna do? Oh, just getting a tire too wide there on the exit. That is certainly worthy of F's. Yep. So CJ now has had a little calamity of his own, and that is gonna put him far back of proceedings now, as he drops down to third and fourth position, and that pit stop is gonna cost him even more positions as Mikey and Zephyr take advantage of the bad luck of the Greek, and he will now be reduced, so to say, to scrapping around with the other drivers who have had the incident so far, but they will be able to make their return later in the race, especially if they can find some clear track to put in some fast lap times. In the meanwhile, it's still Digby leading in the 300s. It's still Welsh in 2nd position after he made that little mistake, but managed after all not to lose it completely there. It's a very easy place to pick up damage there. Joe of the Fire now up into 3rd position in class and having an absolute scrap down there with VRS stick still. So those two looks like they have joined together pretty much. And they seem perfectly matched around here, just trading places like Joe did with Digby. Mind you that Joe of the Fire is running 40 some kilos of ballast after his 20 points from his race win in round 1. And such is the success ballast in this series. And especially on a track like this with the fast sweeping corners and the chicanes and weight transfer, the ballast is gonna play out as a major disadvantage to your pace. And Joe of the Fire still doing quite a good job here, keeping DRS stick in 4th position. Is T5 in 5th with JC in 6th at the moment. Still with that 24 pretty close. And he has that aero damage. And I round off the GT class, but having taken that early pit stop, just losing too much time from the damage I gained from that lap 1 contact, and hoping to do exactly the same as the 500 cars who also had this kind of bad luck in the beginning of the race. Armored Core looking very, very, very composed here, and he has been leading from the green, and he is, well, if he keeps it up like this, he will be leading at the end as well. He has a healthy advantage down to Zephyr, who in turn has broken away just ever so slightly from Mikey in the NSX. It's Pinkery also having done quite well here today. He is in 4th position and looking ever so steady as well. And here is CJ just getting late on the brakes to overtake Sam Digby. And it is still Digby, Welsh, Joe of the Fire here in 3rd position. Now having put a little bit of time into VRS stick. And let's see if Stick will be able to claw back on that. Well, I see what's going on in chat, and actually, I'm not sure, of course, I'm actually not sure what happened to Digby under the race. We will have to keep an eye on him. Certainly had some issues last week with his connection. I don't know if it was connection issues once more, or we will be the judge of that later on. So Joe of the Fire there looking strong, just pulling a little away from DRS stick. T5 is also just islanding himself ever so slightly, if that's even a thing you can say. Armored Core, well, last time we checked he was doing strong. He is still doing strong, and it is Nissan 1-2 in the GT500s at the moment. Although Mikey seems to have found his pace once more and is now slowly, it seems, catching up to Zephyr in turn, even though Zephyr just put in his personal best lap of the race so far. And Mikey has been on some steady 125s on the last 3 laps. And so has Zephyr. Those two very closely matched also, just seem to be tagging and pulling along. ever so slightly. Pinkery still in 4th position, and he's by no means out of contention for podium spots yet. He is still quite close, and actually seems like he might also have made up a little bit of time. It also might just be the telly lens here that is playing a little bit of a trick there. Digby is in turn still leading, and Welsh is still 2nd in the 300s. And Welsh having put in some seriously quick laps also over the last 2 laps there with some 1:33s. That is very quick for a 300 car here. Same goes for Digby and his laps there. Joe of the Fire, you can just see that this is maybe not a track where the Audi is as strong as it was last week on Fuji. And Joe of the Fire not able to creep into the 33s like the 2 drivers in front of him. So 20 minutes gone, 21 almost minutes gone, and Armored Core is looking stronger and stronger as the race goes on, and he is consolidating his advantage, it seems, with Zephyr passing the line here. Still Mikey is close to him in 3rd position, so very much still an open battle there. And Pinkery, as we've said before, is lurking in the background. CJ in 5th position, and he is also looking like he is slowly but surely creeping up from behind, and he has set some really fast lap times also. There with the 1:24.0s, there are some seriously competitive and very, very stable lap times there from the Greek. And also seem to be quite a bit away in front of Fred Dude and AJ here in turn, it seems. So when looking at the 300 class, we have to wonder if Welsh is going to be able to put up any resistance here. He has just been losing time since he had his little incident there. Joe of the Fire is still a little bit away back, so he is also kind of marooned at the moment with VRS stick. A couple of seconds. Oh, as AJ is off, we have AJ off right in front of these guys here, and having collected some suspension and aero damage to the front, and now having contact there with Joe of the Fire. Oh, that was certainly ill-timed. And AJ, well, I didn't think he was expecting to get overtaken by the GT300 cars in that situation. And now VRS Stick is right back on the tail of Joe of the Fire. Joe of the Fire, they're very lucky to escape without damage from that incident there. Goes to show the importance of having a well-built German car, or maybe just a bit less aero to brake than on the Nissan there. So Digby is pitting in on this lap, AJ in to fix the damage as well, and it also seems that Digby is out, and he is right behind these 2 drivers. So well, that is certainly not the perfect place to be for Sam Digby, just coming out on fresh tires. Though his car might actually be a little slower than these 2 cars because, well, he just put more fuel in it. But he would certainly have preferred to have clean track space in front of him, as these 3 drivers once more safely overtaken by Armored Core, who is just looking strong today, and it'll take a mistake all his own, I think, or something to happen in traffic for him to throw this one away. as he is also more than halfway through the race. He has made the half the race gone marker. Well, in turn, we should actually also be a bit better at pointing out something that, after all, is the name of the channel. Oh, and Digby goes off there! And Digby goes off in the background. So that might have been what they were talking about earlier in chat. As the incident of Digby there, that looked very dramatic indeed. F's out for Sam Digby, and he is now crawling into the pit. And it was basically on his outlap. It was on his outlap. So that is pretty much the worst time possible to pick up damage like that. And that is going to be a huge problem for Sam Digby, who is now all the way back in, well, he's in 5th position, I think, in class now. Surely not what he would have wanted. Now Joe of the Fire with VRS stick for company. Those two are battling away, and it is for the virtual lead of the GT300 class. Of course, those two here has not had their pit stops yet, and are also both looking to be on the fumes of the last fuel remaining in those fuel cells. So Joe of the Fire just looking to hold up the VRS stick for as long as possible, and then whoever comes out in front, well, that will be determined by the speed of their virtual mechanics, and of course how much fuel the two drivers are willing to risk to put in. Then yeah, see you, Welsh. Shame that you're not here to watch your own glory, it seems, as you are back up into 1st position in class. GT Welsh there crosses the line into the first turn. Turn 1, Joe of the Fire regains the track here. He rejoins, of course, and he does so in front of VRS stick. Sam Digby is now in between the two of them. He is now in 3rd position in class and battling away with VRS stick just coming out the pits, and T5 Black is still in P5. So the theme from the M3 series goes on. Is it just the destined place for T5? Or is it a consequence of having a name that sounds so much like P5? I don't know. You decide. So we're following Digby here. Certainly not looking like having any connection issues at the moment. Car looks smooth and stable without any real evidence of lag, hops and bumps here and there. Is that some traffic now? It's the car of Pinkery coming up to overtake VRS stick in the background, and he does so with the required patience as well. So the two BMWs now in 4th and 5th position in class. But as a manufacturer, they are looking strong so far, and looking very consistent with both their cars, something that neither the Porsches or the Audis has managed so far. Let's check in with the 500s. It's been a while. Armored Core is still in the lead, and he has a healthy advantage, but it's now CJ. So things have happened after that pit stop round, and CJ having gone around really quickly, he is now in P2 in class, so that is a strong drive coming back from that incident. Engine damage and it all, it really shows the speed of CJ. Once he gets that clean air, just able to massively undercut the opposition. Mikey has gotten the better of Zephyr over that pit stop round as well. None of them has gone for tires, it seems. So double stinting the tires really seems to be the thing to do here today, at least. Pinkery, well, he did change tires. He is in P5, he's a little way back now, but he might just have an advantage on those fresher tires. And that advantage will be more and more evident as we get closer to the end of the race. Now it's Fred Dude still in P6 with AJ in 7th. Welsh leading the 300s, but his margin does seem to be having a little bit smaller, at least. It is still, though, under no means like he's under pressure there. Joe of the Fire, he's now gonna have to contend with Sam Digby coming up from behind. So Digby there definitely closing up quickly, also with a big advantage in ballast. But Joe of the Fire, I don't think he's gonna be easy getting past. Unless he makes a mistake there as the end of that Audi gets a little loose into the chicane. And now Digby certainly has the advantage there on the exit. And the question is, can he get all the way through coming into the hairpin before it is too late? Because he is on the outside there. Digby might attempt the cutback, but he is parked on the outside, even though now that turns him to the inside coming down to the second chicane. Oh, it's a difficult place to go too wide. And Joe of the Fire getting a little sideways there and just pulling the plug on that battle to remain safe. And that seemed like the wise decision for him, certainly. So now Sam Digby having retaken second position and is now going to be chasing GT Welsh. Joe of the Fire just lost a little ground there. And in turn, VRS Stick is now, well, the battle from before, it could just be going on and on now, but VRS Stick seems to be on fresher tires for this one. Oh, so you just brushed or what, you two? It certainly must have been a small contact, no damage given out to any of you. Digby also getting away. Armored Core still in the lead. CJ in second position, and it's Mikey in third. So status quo on the podium. Zephyr fourth, and Pinkery, Fred Dude, and AJ. So yeah, still status quo on the 500s. And so it would also seem with the 300s at the moment there. Joe of the Fire now with VRS Stick getting closer and closer and closer. Oh, Joe just getting a little sideways there. And oh, a Sticky Boy goes very wide on the exit of that chicane. And does well to keep the car under control because it's very slippery out there in the grass. As CJ, he was taught the hard way earlier in the race. And that just might just get a little advantage again to Joe of the Fire, but still with the VRS Stick within the slipstream of that Audi. It just makes it very difficult to pull away, especially to a car that is very good through cornering. Very well balanced, the M3 or so I have heard, because actually I haven't driven it yet. But knowing BMWs, knowing the M3 or the earlier M3s from the TSR M3 WTC, I can only vouch. I can only say that the BMW M3, great car. Armored Core there, just gonna get around JC. And he's getting in a little flash there. He's gonna get held up big time here through the S's. And just about times it right. still Joe of the Fire, still VRS Stick, just trying to claw his way back into the podium positions in the GT300 field. And I gotta say also to the TSR boys of but the TSR boys, well, the Gainer livery on Welsh's car is very nice, but I also gotta say that the BMW livery there, the camo and blue, it sort of looks like the Volvo Polestar blue, and I really like it. I think it's very nice. It also complements to the liveries of the two Porsches, also really nice. JC, the Belgian, always on top of livery game. We have seen that on multiple occasions now, with his by now famous, on this channel at least, TikTok livery in the M3 series. That was absolutely amazing. So picking up on the racing while AJ passes by here, it is still Welsh in front of Digby, but Digby is closing in, and he is just also in turn pulling away from Joe of the Fire in third position here. And is this what Stick was talking about before? Is this Fred dude or Mikey coming through to pass? Oh, what happened there? Was something just going on behind? Was that a little tap or something? It didn't. It looked like, at least it looked like they were very close there. And it is indeed the car of Fred Dude, and I think there was contact indeed, because Fred Dude now has a little damage there. Oh, and it gets squirmy on the overtake with Joe of the Fire. And VRS Stick in turns also with his damage now, but not that much of the race remaining. He might just be able to sweat it out, but certainly it's going to enable Joe of the Fire just to run away with the podium position number 3 for the time being. So Armored Core feel like we haven't really giving him enough attention for the superb drive that he has been putting in through this race. And the young American is looking to just pull home his advantage now. He is closing in on the checkered flag, closing in on the last 8 laps of the race, and still with a nice advantage down to CJ and the rest of the GT500s. CJ also with a bit of a Mikey. Zephyr still a little close to Mikey though, so it won't take many mistakes from him. Welsh, and now, oh, where is Digby's gone, I think. Digby, yeah. Rest in peace to Digby. I don't know where he's gone, but certainly gone he has. He is out of the picture. He is out of contention once more for the 2nd race in a row. And whether that's down to pure bad luck or any kind of incident, well, we'll have to ask him, I guess, because we just didn't catch that one. But certainly not what he would have hoped for, because he had shown actually to be also the fastest driver on track, pretty much. No disrespect, Welsh, who's also been very, very consistently fast throughout this race. Digby maybe just having that edge. Oh no, Apple, what are you talking about? Nothing to see here. No spoilers were given whatsoever. Perhaps we should work on some policy, given that all these races in the end are raced before we transmit them, and spoilers, well, it does take the fun out for the people who weren't there. And given that some people actually do watch that wasn't racing, perhaps we should have some kind of spoiler policy in chat that we tell the drivers who come to watch the broadcast as well. Might be a good idea for the future. So as CJ gets past another teammate of his in the NES, this time his teammate in the LMP class, where they team up in the Audi R18 hybrid and has been quite dominant for this season so far. He's now in second position, and he is looking like the small incident between Fred and Stick kind of gifted it that second position with certainty to him. We are also getting very near the end of the race for the 500s and the 300s as well, with only a couple of laps remaining there. 4 or 5 laps remaining still. And I think that was actually, might have been Fred actually getting lapped by leader Armored Core. Ooh, that is certainly not what he would have wanted. Especially since Fred, dude, also one of those drivers where you just know, well, he does have the pace when it works for him. He's very, very fast indeed. And it's due to more damage to him, so a bad day, a forgettable day for him. And I think he will just choose to ride it out to the end of the race. Even though AJ in turn is quite close behind, so he might actually be giving away that 6th position. But of course he would also give away that 6th position if he chose to pit at this moment, so well, I would say that there's nothing that Joe of the Fire does in a race that's not earned, because he is a fast driver in his own right, and he knows how to get a car around a racetrack both quickly and consistently. But it's still hard to get around the fact that a little contact with the duelant and you two were entangled for so much of the race, so it certainly has made life easier for Joe of the Fire in second position. Still VRS Stick in third in class there, getting overtaken now by Zephyr. And T5 Black is slowly creeping in also. So Armored Core still leading, CJ still second. Oh, Zephyr just gets a little bit of a moment on the exit there of the second chicane. And then into the last open hairpin. Onto the start, finishing straight. And he will have 3 laps to go at this moment. Pinkery on those fresher tires. And we made out there, and Mikey on fresh tires now. I think Mikey had a problem before, so certainly not the best of days for the two Hondas that had such a good day out at Fuji, where they really were able to claw back some very good result. And actually they did get a 1-2 there at round 1, so this is really things getting flipped. And of course, those two drivers are also the ones who have been hit the hardest by the ballast. That might also just be what's showing today, also in terms of car stability, because you just try to make that ballasted car go as fast as the car that has no ballast, and that's always difficult. Armored Core, as we said, still leading, now 2 laps to go, with CJ, Zephyr and Pinkery. And I think there must have been an incident there with Mikey. AJ and Fred Dude now battling it out. And Fred Dude, well, he's lost a lot of time to AJ because of that damage to his car. But he chose to stay out. And he chose just to try and battle it out with AJ. And now he has been passed. And it didn't look like he could really do anything about it. And he seems to be losing a lot both in cornering and also in the straight line speed of that Honda NSX. And that looks to be game over for him. Welsh is still looking strong. Joe of the Fire is now just nursing his advantage, and he's gonna carry that all the way home, I think. VRS Stick also just looking to consolidate and keep third position, I think, at this point. Not much time left of the race. T5 in fourth position with JC fifth, myself sixth, and Dad in seventh position now, of course. This Armored Core overtaking the car of myself, and the two Audis being distinguishable by, as I go very wide through turn 1 there. Well, that seemed to keep it on track. Good luck on that one. But I was saying before that our two Audis, well, mine has the red mirrors that you see here, and car of Joe of the Fire, but it has black mirrors. A little detail, also a little bit of difference on the rims. So Armored Core onto his final lap. He has been driving like a man possessed. A man possessed at just being very, very consistent. He hasn't really made any mistakes. At least they have been. They haven't been revealed by the camera here. But he has been really strong today, and just avoiding any kind of calamities, and that is now showing, because he is, if he gets through the chicane in the last corner, he is going to take race victory as a car goes off there. And that is the car of Mikey. And that's gonna make it his final lap as well. Just found out the same way that CJ did, that the grass there is very slippery indeed. So Armored Core takes the checkered flag and wins round 2 of the TSR Multiclass Super GT Championship here from Kyoto Yamagiwa. CJ crosses the line in second position, and now we are looking at a couple of the GT guys, I think, to finish as well. It is Mikey, AJ, Fred Dude as well. So now Welsh. We're gonna have Zephyr crossing the line first. So Zephyr takes third position there with a strong display as well, being very consistent, something that he's shown to be in most of the races. We have had the pleasure of looking at him race in, at least, taking third position here. GT Welsh crossing the line there in first position in the 300s. Joe of the Fire is second, pretty closely followed by VRS Stick and T5 Black as well, who takes fourth in front of JC, myself, and Dad 24DH. So I guess the big talking point at the end of this race will be once more a DQ for, or a DQ, well, it was by no means a DQ, but a DC. It is a disconnection for the big orange blurry dot in the front of the screen, the Aston Martin of Sam Digby, who must have been said that this season so far has been a big what if for him, because certainly, as I also mentioned under the race, he has been really fast, he has been very consistent on his laps, it seems, makes quite few mistakes in general, but just been followed by bad luck so far as well. Congratulations to Armored Core on pulling off that fantastic win in the GT 500 class. Just an absolute flawless race, and that was really strong. Real burp. Congratulations, of course, to GT Welsh, who also did so well in the 300s to take home the victory here. And to all you other guys, thanks for providing us with such great racing, such entertaining battles. And especially, I must say that the GT 300 class, the GT3 class, the Group 3s are once more really providing us with some absolutely excellent racing. Maybe a little bit because they just aren't as affected by the dirty air that that's produced by a car in front as for example the GT 500 cars are. Seems to be a little bit more difficult having those battles, but we have had also great racing in the 500s. It was just that Armored Core decided to just walk away with it on the line, and so he did. So yeah. So yeah, that pretty much concludes this race. Of course, once more, thanks again to TSR Motorsports, of course, for organizing the series. I think it's also on time and about time that we give a big thanks to everybody at GTPlanet, because without the wondrous website that is GTPlanet, where should we get together to organize these races and leagues and one-offs and well, all this good stuff. So big shout out to GTPlanet, of course, as well. And once more, I can only say that it's been a great pleasure having you all along for the broadcast. Thank you for making chat such a lively place, such an entertaining place once more. I can only say that I do enjoy reading along, and I can also say that I do my best to try and interact as much as I can while still bringing you that race action all the time. So, and thanks for the thanks. What'd you say? But anyways, that concludes the stream for today. Do please join us come the other side of this weekend when we are, of course, once more back for the Nuke Shot Endurance Series, which the next round will be taking place on Sunday. The broadcast will of course be on Monday, and we will be staying in Japan. I mentioned some time ago that we were gonna have that we have Japan weeks here at Have the Race Gone, because all the races that would be covered would basically Japan. It was the NES from Suzuka, then we had SuperGT from Fuji. Now we have another NES from Suzuka, then here SuperGT from Kyoto, and then next week's NES race is gonna be held at Tokyo Expressway in the black of night. So I think that is gonna be a very, very, very dramatic one. It's a super fast track. It's very difficult not to get anything wrong at some point in an hour-long race, and especially when I'm thinking about that whole multi-class aspect. So that's gonna be a banger, and I do encourage you all to join us come this Monday for the Nuke Shot Endurance Series. And with all that advertising for our different series, the different stuff we cover, broadcast, and commentate upon, all that is left is for me to say good night and have fun, take care. It's been a pleasure, and bye-bye.